Hello everyone, this is Omkar and I'll be the guide to walk you through the platform. As a mediator, you would always like to have a profile where people could see who you are and what your experience is. Brave has a feature to provide you with that. So, when you first sign up to the platform, your profile is currently empty. You have to create your profile, filling out all your details so that you are listed on the platform. By listed, I mean Brave is a marketplace, and when people try to find mediators, you will be suggested to them. So make sure that you have your complete profile up on the platform. Let's fill out a sample profile for me. So it will ask me for my time zone, and it will ask me for my experience. And so the conflict management fees are the fees that you charge for an hour when you mediate a session for clients. You will be routed back your fees into your account by Brāv.org, and the fees will be collected for you on behalf of you from the clients. There are two ways that you can meet clients on Brave platform. One can be people come to our platform and find you, and other can be people can find you first and you take them to our platform to save the costs of other things that are involved into a mediation session, such as driving and whole other things. So I'm gonna put 76 US dollars per hour as my price. Auto accept mediation session. So this is a feature when people find you on Brave.org and request to have a mediation session with you, your response will be automatically accepted. Your response will be recorded as automatically accepted. That button helps you to get more business. Apply to become a professional mediator. So currently our platform works as by approval. We contact every mediator that registers on our platform and interview them so that we screen them and we validate the authenticity of them. So you can apply to become a professional mediator, or you can stay just a brave one who can mediate on our platform. Your choice. Now, have an international insurance and specialties. You must have an international insurance that covers you from several covers you in several aspects. Uh, we'll talk about that later, and let's talk about specialities. When people search for mediators on our platform, they look for specialities. So please only list and do list the specialities that you cover, like, and try remember to hit enter every time you list every time you add to your specialities. So I'll add a few specialities and just save my profile. Remember that you should complete your profile so that you will be listed in our platform as a mediator. Now let's have a look at other features of the platform. By pressing the home button, you can go to the home of the platform. This is the logout button when you can log out from your browser, and this is my account button which will take you to your profile again, and this is a refresh button if you want to reload the page, and that's pretty much it. So we have covered till now profile, home, and these other features. Brave sessions and cases. As a mediator, you can do business two ways. So you can do business two ways. One, people find you. Let's assume this is P1, this is P2. They are having a conflict. They find you to mediate out their conflict, and you come to Brave.org to have their mediation session online. And other way can be P1 and P2 have conflicts. They don't really know you, but they know Brave, so they come to Brave.org and they find you, and that's how you meet them and you have a mediation session online with them. So let's consider the first scenario where people already know you and you want to take their mediation session online. What you do is Go to brave.org, open your account, and create a new session. To create a new session, it will ask you to create a new case first. Brave encapsulates all the sessions into cases so that they are better organized and you are not much cluttered. So let's create a sample case. Let's assume P1 and P2 have a dispute over their bicycle accident that they had the other day, and one of them comes to you and says, would you help us mediate our dispute? You say, yes. Why not take it to the next level? Why not use Brave this time, where we don't have to drive all the way to meet and mediate? You can come to brave.org. And the other person P2 can come to brave.org. I can come to brave.org, and we can have a mediation session online and reach to an agreement where we all are happy. Understand that Brave will help you through all the mediation process as a mediator. It will help you collect the fees from the persons, it will help you route the fees to your bank account, and it will also help you through the video to have a video chat option and a text chat option to have your mediation session. After that, it will also help you to create an agreement and get all of those parties to sign that agreement. Let's see how that all can be done. So we are back to creating a case. Let's create a sample case. This case will help me remember all the context about this case. Now I can create a Brave session. I can always come back to this form by clicking on New Session. So I have to give it a title. So let's say I'll call it Episode 1 or so I'll call it Session 1 for P1 and P2. I have to link my case so that all the sessions that are encapsulated into that case are better organizable to me. Now, description of the session. You can put any sample description that will help me gain the context of the case. Now I'll have to add the email addresses of those parties that are involved. So in this particular use case, I'll have to know the email addresses of those parties so that they can reach to brave.org and I can help them mediate their sessions. Hours is a parameter that we take just in case you need to anticipate how much the fees will be. So let's say our session will go on for 2 hours and the email addresses of the parties are, let's say, p1@sample.com, and remember you have to hit enter to add more parties. p2@sample.com, and now create a session. It will just create a session for me and I'll be able to navigate to it at a later point of time by clicking on all session requests. So a session can be a session request or a session until depending on whether it is paid for or not. Until and unless a session request is paid for, it doesn't become a session. So the parties that are involved must pay for the session to go further. Now here is the description panel where you can negotiate with the parties and see the status of the session. It says that p1@sample.com is an unregistered user and it hasn't responded yet. It also says that about P2. And the conflict manager being you, it tells you about your per hour fees and whether or not you are accepted or not. Remember that in your profile, you have put this auto accept mediation session as on. That's why this session was already accepted. Otherwise, you would have a choice to accept this session or deny this session. Let's go back to this session again. You can offer discount to your parties, or you can have a different rate for this session despite having a different rate for all the other sessions. So let's see how that works. I'll go ahead and create the accounts for P1 and P2, assuming that in this story of ours, the mediator will tell P1 and P2 to register on brave.org. So here we are to create an account for P1 and P2. Both of them have to create an account as an individual because they are not mediators, neither they are organizations. So remember, the parties which are clients must register as an individual. So I'll say P1. The email is p1@.org. Remember to put a valid email address here so that you can receive a verification code over that. Have my verification code now and I will sign up. Let's see how it will look to the individual who has just signed up. He has these three options: agreements, same as the mediators; Brave sessions and cases, same as the mediators; and home, a little bit different. This button here is for logout. It will be helpful if you will be able to navigate, if you will be able to help your clients get through this platform. Now what they have to look for is session requests here under the Brave sessions and cases. Sorry, I accidentally created an account for p1@sample.org where it should be p1@sample.com as we did put it in while creating the session. So we are back to this account now, and the person has to look for session requests. So when they go to session request, they will see this session created by you as a mediator in their brave.org panel. It will tell them whom are all the parties that are involved in the session, and they can always create a new session if they want to. So that's a different part. We'll get back to that in some other video. But now let's have a look at how does it look to individuals. Now it says P1 has not responded and P2 is still an unregistered user. So let's create an account for P2. So let's quickly fill out the details. Remember, P2 has to be an individual. Have my code again, and here it is. So P2 also can go to session requests and see the session listed for them. And now it does say P1 has not responded yet and P2 has not responded yet. And Dusane is the mediator. He's saying that his fees are 43 USD per hour, and it does say that the fees are 86 because the duration plan is 2 hours. Now P2 can either choose to accept the session or reject the session. So let's accept the session. Because the conflict manager has already accepted the session, P2 and P1 will both now be able to see the option Pay Now and Redeem. Pay Now option asks for your credit card, for the individual's credit card, for them to be able to pay you as a mediator, and that money will be routed to your account by brave.org. So let's cancel the payment here and see how does the platform still look to the P1 who is the other party involved. Let's refresh this, and the P1 will also be able to see P2 has accepted the session and P1, who is himself, has not responded. So let's click on accept session by P1, and now this person will also be able to pay. Now let's click on redeem and put on a coupon code that will skip the payment for now and allow us to have the mediation session anyways. I'll enter my coupon code here and click apply to redeem the coupon. So it says applied the coupon. Now all the parties will be able to schedule the session. See here that the payment is skipped, but it will be similar when the payment will be completed. Let's see how does the mediator see. So this is how it will look to you. After all the parties have accepted the sessions and you keep on refreshing, or you can do this asynchronously, you can actually schedule the session. Scheduling will ask for the time zone for which to schedule the session for, and also it will ask at what time the session should commence. The time is not strict on our platform, you can always change it some other day, but now let's go ahead with it. So this is March the 13th, and save the schedule. As you update the schedule of the session, other parties will also be able to see the schedule that you created. So this is how it will look for P1. So sorry, this is P2, and P2 will be able to see the schedule that you created. It will say starts in a day, and it will say when the session will start according to the local time of where the P2 resides. Okay, P2 can always choose to reschedule the session by clicking the save, but let's go ahead with the same schedule now. For time being, we will assume that these people are meeting now, and when P1 refreshes, see, he will get the schedule. Now let's see how it works when the actual session commences. Being a mediator, you will always be asynchronous to this platform. So you can click on this join link, this join button. It will ask for your camera's permission, and here you can see me, and you can always come back to this join button by going to all sessions. Remember, after the payment is done, people will be able to see this under my sessions also. And if you want to go back to those listed area where you could see whom are all the parties that are accepted or rescheduled, you can always go to session requests and click view. Okay, so here is a join button that does the same thing as the join button here does. But remember, every session is separate and isolated from each other. Your data is secure with us, and we use high-end security for the platform to be private and trustable. Let's see how does it look to other parties. So this is how P1 will be able to see it. So let's assume that the session time is gonna come anytime sooner than now, and let's assume that all the parties have come to Brāv platform. Now what P1 has to do is go to my sessions and click on join button. So here I am acting as all three parties, so it will ask for my back camera, and you'll be able to see my hand because these two browsers will indeed be having a conversation with each other for the sake of this session. After clicking the start session, P1 will actually be able to participate into the session, and I'll mute the mic for the convenience of our session. Let's see, this is the video off button, and let's go to the mediator panel now. Mediator can always join the session, and when the mediator is ready to start, he will see the start session button. So in this case, I am being a mediator, and I'll be able to see all these sessions. So this is now connected to my hand where it is talking to this browser. And this is how it will look to the individual. So there can be more than two parties that are involved in the session. The third party which is involved in this session will also be able to join this session by clicking on this join button or by going to my sessions, as compared to when he will come back and click on join button actually. For the sake of your understanding and convenience, I will quickly wrap it up through the features and cut other two parties off the conversation so that we have a better performance out of my computer now. So this person will also be able to start the session and see all the two parties that are already in the session. So these parties will be able to have a textual chat also by clicking on the icon that is on the upper right corner. So now I guess you all are able to see me. It is a little bit shaky because my computer is not able to handle 3 streams at a time, but I assure you it works very well when it works on 3 different computers. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to close this window and continue with other two so that I get a better performance out of it. So this is a big video box. I will have to rescale it a little bit. So whichever box that a person clicks on during the mediation session gets into the middle. And okay, so now I'll close the video chat. I'll also walk you through the other functionalities of the video chat. One of them is chat, which is at the upper right corner. So let's look at chat. And the mediator. So I'll close the chat for this person. Okay. So this is pretty much it. I recommend you to go through all this practice and make yourself familiar with the platform, and please do email me or write into the comments about if you have any suggestions or if you have any improvement for the platform. If you like it, please don't forget to mention that. So, and let's quickly wrap up the session now. When everybody is done having a video chat with them with each other and the session is resolved, they can always click on end session and go back to their homes. Now let's come back and see how there is a different way Brāv.org can be a marketplace. In this scenario, you already knew the P1 and P2. Now let's assume P1 and P2 don't actually know you and they are having a dispute. They are looking for a mediator. So while looking for a mediator, they come across Brāv.org, and Brāv knows you. So what Brāv will do is suggest them some mediators from which they can choose and reach you actually, and everything and all the rest of the things will be the same. As they will create a session, you will receive a request to accept that session, and when you respond they will be able to pay. So let's see how will that work. So let's assume now this P1 has a dispute with P2 and they don't know you. So what they will do is go ahead and select a mediator. These are all the mediators that we have on our platform currently. This is the one that we just created. Divorce and ODR are the specialities of this person. So I'll create a session with this person. It will ask that person to have a case instead. So create a case. When the case is created, you are actually able to encapsulate your sessions into that. It is a way for better organization of the cases. These are just the fillers. I'll know who the person is. Remember to press enter every time you add a party to the email. If you have any witnesses, you can always invite them for the session, like and hours of the session. Let's say this session is gonna last for 4 hours, not 4 hours. It will give the client an approximated calculated fee. So the client will create a session now. Session 2 of my third divorce with Ted Mosby, blah blah blah. It will tell them whom are all the parties involved, and you as a mediator will be able to see how the new session comes your way. Because you have put on this auto accept mediation request enabled, these people that you don't even knew before were able to actually create a session with you, and you are able to see that under your requests. You can always see whom are the parties involved, and after clicking on view, you are able to read the description. You are able to see when it was created, how much is the charge that you are getting out of it. You can offer discounts to them to attract more clients. Let's say I'll do this session for $50 an hour instead of 76, which is my standard rate. So P1 has not responded, P2 has not responded, and this witness is an unregistered user. So it is their responsibility, P1 and P2s, to get the witness online. Let's concentrate on what we are doing now. So again, this is how it looks to P2. P2 will again be able to see this session under their sessions and view and accept, and then again the redeem will come. Here on, the flow is very similar to the earlier case. Now as you refresh, you will be able to see P2 has accepted. Now let's go ahead and accept from P1. View and accept. Coming back to your window, when you refresh, you will be able to see that P1 has accepted too. You can always go ahead with any unregistered user who has not responded to the session, as long as the parties are paying. So in this case, let's say if P1 is paying, so I'm going to put my coupon code here and apply. So it will say applied the coupon code. So this is how parties will be able to pay you, and you will be able to see if the payments are made or not. It will tell you if the payment is skipped or paid to you. If the payment is successful, then Brāv will be able to deposit the money into your account. If the payment is skipped, the parties are not paying for a session, but this is just a demo session. So let's go ahead for it. Schedule session. So any of the three parties involved in the session can actually schedule for the session and reschedule, of course. So I'll schedule for a Gulf time session, 12 p.m. and date would be again not 2020. Save the schedule, and you will be able to see how the other parties, when they refresh, will be able to see the schedule according to their time zone. And after clicking the join button that will come after the schedule is done, they are able to come to this mediation platform where you can mediate them. And here's my hand again. You will also be able to join that mediation session by clicking on join and then clicking on start session button. This is how we will again be able to have a mediation session with all these three parties. And I'll wrap it up for now, but we'll come back to it later. And I strongly recommend you to try it out. So let's end these sessions. And see how the platform works for agreements now. One of the major aspects of a mediation session is the ability to reach to an agreement. A mediation session is assumed to be a successful session when both the parties who are in a dispute are able to reach an agreement. In this case, you being a mediator, you can create an agreement between those two parties by going on our platform, and under agreements, click on create agreement. P1@sample.com, hitting enter again, and P2@sample.com, hitting enter again. So bicycle accident compensation reached. So remember, whatever discussion that you have with the clients and whatever the notes that you take, you must create an agreement here so that the both parties are able to sign, and that agreement will be preserved on our site so that its authenticity is not tampered. So P1, P2, so do remember to press enter after adding all the parties that are involved in your agreement. Now let's start drafting. So here's the panel where you can actually create an agreement and add some text to it. I'm not that much of a legal expert, but I do know that we have custom snippets for us. Let's minimize this one and P2 also. So I do know that we have custom snippets which include all the matters that are always repeated into these agreements. So this is actually made to ease in the lives of mediators who are drafting agreements or agreements all the time. Now this is the save button which will save the agreement state so you can come back to it at a later point of time. So to this story, you can click on my drafts and see this agreement here. While you click on edit, you'll be able to see this agreement all the way. Now if you make some modifications, let's fill up this agreement with sample stuff. And that's enough. Now this is a boilerplate feature. Let's imagine there are a lot of agreements who are just boilerplates filled out by details like leave and lease agreement and marriage and everyone. So these are the agreements that come on handy. You don't have to type them and you can always make changes to them. But this button will get you back to the last saved version of your agreement. So now I'm gonna go back to it, but you can always use boilerplates. So this is how it looks to me. Remember, you can share these agreements, or I would say these agreements are by default shared with these people. These people can view this agreement under their draft shared with me tab. So there they can go to this agreement and see what you have made. They can always refresh to see if you are making any changes to this agreement. For example, let's go back to my window and add some stuff to it. Okay, what I'll do is go ahead and save it, and going back to the party who is actually watching this agreement, refreshing it would add the stuff to it. Remember that these parties who are watching can only see the agreement, as they cannot change anything in that. So if people are able to reach to the agreement and they are able to sign it, it's a great thing. And my personal opinion is that it is a revolutionary step towards ODR. Now let's have a look at finalize button. After you finalize the agreement, this agreement will no longer be editable and you will not be able to make any changes to it or tamper it. Its authenticity will further always be preserved with Brāv platform. So as you check all the checklist and click on submit, the agreement will be only read only. Now you have to be ready to sign it, and as a mediator you can deny to sign it or sign it, but what matters is if the parties are able to sign it or not. So the parties will be able to see that agreement under their signing requests. So now the agreement won't be the part of the draft that are shared with them, because the agreement has been finalized now. So you see the agreement here. Now they'll be able to open it and read it, go through it, and if they agree to it, they can click on ready to sign, accept or deny it. Same goes with the other party that is involved too, that is T1. That other party will also be able to see it in their signing requests. Let's see if we have added that party to here or not. So this party was added, so he can sign as accepted, and this agreement will be forever saved as accepted by this party. When this party can always come back to it and see what was the response to this agreement. Remember that this agreement can no longer be changed now, and it is preserved with Brāv. So now mediator, you can also sign this agreement or not, and you are good to go. You can always come back to your signed agreements under this tab, and this pretty much covers up all the features in the version 0.5 of Brāv.org. Please let me know if you have any queries or any doubts under the comments or email. My email address is developer@brāv.org, and you can always write to us on info@brāv.org. Have a nice day. Thanks.